Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Playbook for Leaders and Entrepreneurs. Today, we have an inspirational guest on the show, Yuru Guo, the founder of Hey, Food is Ready. Yuru is a visionary entrepreneur who turned a passion for food and community into a thriving business that connects home cooks with people craving authentic homemade food. From experimenting with different business ideas to scaling a platform that empowers immigrants, retirees, and stay at home parents, many of whom have incredible culinary skills but limited opportunities to share them. Euro is redefining how we experience home cooked food. Euro's journey is one of resilience, innovation, and purpose. So, Euro, I'm so excited to talk to you today and very warm welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to join this show.
Yeah, thank you. And we went to the same university, we are at the same college. So, I'm honored to have you, to know you and to have you on the show.
Me too. It's good to get here and share my experience and stories with the wider community.
100%. So let's kick it off with if you could give us a little more insights into your business and personal life so our listeners can get to know you a little bit more.
Yes, of course. So, as you mentioned, I graduated from Durham University with a degree in entrepreneurship. So, alongside
Yeah.
this whole degree, it's all about finding the opportunity to start a business and finding the ideas as well. So, my background is back in 2016. I used to work at the UN Refugee Agency in New York, and with this whole opportunity, I got to meet a lot of refugees coming from a different cultural backgrounds. And I think one thing I sort of realize is a lot of people have language barriers and they're so disconnected with the local community. But because we're hosting different events for them, and one of the specific events we hosted is food sharing, kind of like a potluck dinner night, and that is really something that connecting people together. And they started using food as sort of like a medium to making friends and to chat with each other. And when you bring food to people, more people are like opening to hearing your stories. And I think that's when I realized food is such a powerful communication tool, it's bringing people together. And back in England and in Trust, in our college,
Yay.
even though it's a catered college, but like every week we will still have those kind of dinner time where friends from different from the same landing but different rooms will come together and share dinner, because as you know, Trevs has a very diverse community, and people,
100%.
yeah, people living there are from different cultural backgrounds. So in my landing we have friends from Argentina, Italy, and all that. So we would normally bring a dish from that specific countries and then share it with with each other. So this kind of experience really inspired me to sort of utilize the culinary skills of ordinary people and using our platform to share their native cuisines and cultures with a wider community, and meanwhile make meaningful income, because people they're using different kind of marketplace to sell different things. For example, you sell secondhand clothes, Depop or Vinted, or you rent out your bedrooms to people on Airbnb, or you maybe drive on your own time, on Uber. So it's kind of like a marketplace where you can utilize your skills and your experience and to make a side hustle or make a meaningful income. So that's how I sort of started this platform.
Wow, what amazing story. Nice.
Thank you.
And you're working full time on this right now.
Yeah, yes, I am.
Amazing. And I think when we spoke before, your father is also an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's been an entrepreneur for over 20 years.
Wow, so any key lessons that you have learned from him that you still apply to your business?
Yes, of course. Yeah, when I was young, he brought me to lots of those business dinners and make me joining him for networking events. So I think one of the key things, yeah, he mentioned to me is how important networking is, because a lot of time when you're building a business, it's all about building your network and like making the connections. And I think for me, coming to England and when I just graduated, I didn't have any sort of like network apart from people I met through university. So I spent like about a year or a year and a half, like really to building up my network. And when I moved to Newcastle first, and I attended like networking events and like really put myself out there and to meet people and to speak with them about my idea. And you never know, like sometimes maybe one of them become like your clients, sometimes maybe they become like your suppliers. So it's really like, so through networking events I met a lot of like people, and eventually some people might also become the investors. It's all about like building this relationship. Maybe like when you meet them first, you don't really like need to have like a very clear goal on what you want from them, but it's more like just being genuine and just making building this relationship, and then one day you'll like find connecting those dots together and then building something meaningful with them. So I think that's one of the key lessons I learned from my dad. And also like I think another thing is about building resilience as well. So I think my dad always encouraged me when I was a lot younger, and he said you need to like be resilient. Don't like just get like failure is something really normal, and he facing that on a regular basis. And I think I also learned that as well because I wrote so many like grants applications to apply for fundings and didn't get in. And when we were fundraising as well, like we got so many no's from investors and from like angel networks and all that. So some of those kind of moments will really put me like start doubting myself almost. But I think having resilience and don't take rejections to a very like personal level is super important.
Yeah, wow, so many key takeaways there. And best way, I think they say the best mental toughness exercise is starting your own business. So yeah,
Yeah, completely.
100%. And we'll deep dive into all of those, what you said. But before I want to know more about your business journey as well. So your first idea involved sleeping pods and renting formal clothes. So what did you learn from those ventures that you applied to your Hey Food is Ready business?
Yes, of course. So as I mentioned, during my whole like entrepreneurial sort of like masters at Durham University, it was all about like trying different ideas and then see if you can achieve like product market fit or not. So along this journey, I came up with so many different ideas, but it's all around like marketplace sort of like this business model. But for Sleeping Pod and for the clothes renting platform, it didn't work out. It was because like I didn't really like think, because for example, the Sleeping Pod, I would have to like have like the physical product. And initially when I started, I was in a stage of like I didn't understand how to like raise funding without like a like a detailed plan or without any like network. So it for me at that time it was not like durable. But now, if maybe I start again, I might have different sort of like strategies and ideas, method to get there. But at that time, I just like simply didn't know how to get there. So the reason why I started Hey is really because it's all about like building a platform, building a community. So I don't need any like almost like upfront investment. So for me, like graduating from uni, it seems like a most like durable kind of like idea that I can just start from day one. So I think, yeah, so I think two of that failed kind of like idea taught me one thing is first of all, um, like you need to really like build a community. Don't think too much about like the product first, but having a community because for me, like I still didn't finish like building this like whole platform. So we're still in the MVP kind of stage and we have a simple sort of like technology on the platform, but not the final product that we want to build. The reason why it's because first of all, like it costs time and like a lot of investment. But if your product is so good that even you just have like a WhatsApp group and people still like buy your
Hmm.
services. So I think that was one of the mistakes I made initially because I thought, oh, when it starts, I need like people pay me because of the technology. But a lot of time founders like spend thousands of pounds building the platform, but find out that no one actually gonna use them. So I would suggest like if you want to start a business and like even just like using simply like WhatsApp or like a Facebook group, and that would work. And just using that to start something and building the community and trying to like make transactions through the existing like technology and communities and to gain traction and to really like test the product market fit and to see like if actually people are happy to pay for your service or not. And once you have like paying customers, and then that will be the time you think, okay, then now I can invest some money to launch a product or like build the product. And when you build the product, also like you need to take your community um, as the center of the product, because you need to like, I don't know if anyone know like design thinking and all that. So it's like keep human at the center of your design process and design something that people actually need it.
I like that approach of having a community, then taking the feedback, seeing how they're finding the product, and then seeing if it's worth to invest it and move forward. Wow, that's a nice one. And how do you develop this experimental mindset? And how do you know like when to pivot or let go of an idea that isn't working? Because that's your baby, right? And it's difficult to let go and start something new. So how did you get through that?
Yeah, completely. So I think for the first two sort of ideas, I wasn't super like invested in. So it's more like early stages. I did the market research and I realized there's a lot of like difficulties. So it's kind of like just walk away. But for Hey Food is Ready, so initially I actually launched the Hey Food is Ready as a B2C platform. So connecting like home chefs with neighbors and selling their like meals. It's almost like, for example, if you're like a chef or like home cooks and you cook like
Yeah.
5 meals for dinner, and probably you have like a household of 2 people, so you can sell like the rest three to your other neighbors. But one of the main challenge at that time we were facing is a lot of like time those kind of chefs or home chefs, they already have like a customer base. So you live in the community for 20 years and you're already selling food to your neighbors, and you're not like your neighbors, and neighbors are not like super bothered to having to check their like food hygiene certificates or like checking your neighbor, like neighbor you're buying food from, like if they have like insurance or not. And
Yeah.
as home chefs, like you already have like a very stable customer base, so you're not too bothered to be on the platform and let the platform charge a commission fee. So at that time, the main challenge was like onboarding chefs to the platforms and also like acquire customers as well, because the customer acquisition cost was quite high. And the average order value is relatively low, because when you order dinner for your household, it's probably like max like £50 to like £60 per order. So that was a time I decided to sort of like pivot to a B2B platform. So still working with a group of like chefs, but selling their services to corporates. So that's when we made the pivot. And this pivot really helped us to, you know, using like bigger orders to attract chefs to be on the platform. So we attract chefs. So we get confirmed order first, and then we use order to attract chefs to be on the platform. So that become our strategy, and then with that strategy, we managed to like quickly onboarded like over 125 chefs on the platform, and now we have around 320 chefs on the waiting list even. So it was a good like strategy, and I think then the average order value also increased. So now our average value is around like £800. So like for chefs, from £50
Wow.
per like average order to 800 was a big jump. And with that big jump, a lot of chefs be like, oh, now I want to work with Hey Food is Ready and I want to sell my meals to a different like audience.
Wow, amazing and inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you also believe, you keep saying this mantra that is, you believe in dream big and make it happen. So, how has that mindset shaped your journey?
Yes, completely. I think first of all, like dream big and make it happen is sort of like mentality that I developed over the years,
Yeah,
and
where
I
do you get
think
this from, by the way?
I don't know. I think I don't actually know. I don't remember, but I've always like using that kind of line to encouraging myself to do things and also encouraging my team as well. So I think dream big, make it happen is all about like encouraging your team and yourself to think boldly, because a lot of time like people doubting themselves, saying that you can't achieve for whatever
Yeah.
reasons, it because maybe because of like lack of network or lack of funding or yeah, a lot of things, and they just be like, oh, I can't do this. And but when you think big and when you like being more bold about what you want to do, and you always like think this is durable, and you start setting up like break down all of the big goals into like smaller action plans, and just at the moment focus on the smaller action plans, but with the big picture at the end. So never like really forget where exactly you want to go eventually.
Nice. And with setting these lofty goals, we might fail as well. So how do you set these lofty goals but not fear the failure?
I think it's about like what I've mentioned before, like building resilience, because you know, like those like dream big might also means like you need to accept all of those like challenges along this journey. And I think being able to like build the resilience, it's very important, like kind of mindset to develop, because when you get rejections, initially when I got rejections, I took it quite personal, and I felt like maybe it's me, I'm not good enough. Like this idea is not good enough. So I took it quite personal, but everybody have different opinions towards you and towards the things that you want to do. But if it's something like you're truly passionate about, I think you should just do it. Because when I started, like when I pitched to investors or pitching at the events, and someone said, "Oh, this is like impossible to achieve in like with your like maybe background or maybe with your experience, because building a marketplace is like a two set of problems. You need to find suppliers, and then you need to find the demand as well. And you have to have like a balance of supply and demand to make the marketplace running smoothly. So it's always like this chicken and egg problems, but so a lot of people think it's not achievable, but I always believe that I can do this. So I try to find the strategies to, break the two set of marketplace problem into one side. So that's how I reach out to like event organizers first. So when I reach out to event organizers and they like what we do, and because a lot of like companies have their EDI goals and they want to support their local communities and all that, so they're more drawn to like order services from our platform. So from there, we secure the demand or secure the orders even without chefs on the platform. And then we use the demand to attract chefs to be on the platform. So then we sort of like break the two set of marketplace problem into one side. So now our main sort of challenge is just to build out the sales pipeline and to have more people, like more corporate clients onboarded to our services. So this is like a little story to like to prove like how important is it to build resilience and don't take other people's like opinion and ideas too much into your consideration, I think.
Interesting. And when you said like when you got initial rejections, right, you took it
Mhm.
personally. So what mindset shift you did that whenever you got rejections after you didn't take it personally?
Yeah, I initially I did, and I just cried, but then I realized
Huh.
cry does not lead me to anywhere, like lead me to nowhere. So I think it's all about like, when you start a business because you're like so passionate towards it and you want to actively making progress and you want them to do better. So, and then you realize like this rejections doesn't mean anything actually. Like you just need to like ignore or forget about it, or like using them as a sort of like a power to pushing you forward and then making progress from there. So I think that's how I sort of like trained myself to develop this kind of mindset.
Nice. I love that. Using it as fuel.
Exactly.
So what inspired you to create Hey Food is Ready, and how did the journey, I think you talk about James Dyson as well, the founder of Dyson. So how did his journey influence your entrepreneurial path as well?
Yeah, so the whole idea of me starting Hey for This Ready is really because of like my personal
Yeah.
experience working at the UN Refugee Agency and also living in Trebs and such a great community. And how Dyson inspired my journey is I always look up like on him, because like when he developed the horse and he did experiments, and it was like he probably tried to develop like 500 like models, which isn't working that well until like he figure out which one is the best. So I think this kind of like mindset really encourage me or inspire me to also, like don't take failure as an answer and trying to like work out what would be the best way of developing things. So um like initially when I launched this platform, the B2C doesn't work, and I didn't, instead of like giving up and say like this whole idea would not work, I shifted my like mindset and I pivot to like B2B. So a lot of time, like maybe you, when you think that your current idea is not working, maybe tweak it a little bit and then trying to find the solution. And sometimes it's just like those kind of little pivots will help you to find the right
Hmm.
direction. Yeah, and to
Nice
help
and
you find like product market fit as well.
quite inspiring. And James Tyson is a perfect example for keep trying, and you are as well. So,
Completely.
what drives you? What drives you with all these failures like rejection? What drives you to do what you do?
I think first of all, it's because my love for food. Like I think when you want to start a business, like passion, like personal connection, passion is like super important. And for me, growing up, I love different food and I love different culture as well. So for me, like trying new food is something makes me happy. And with this work, I got to know so many amazing chefs. Some of them worked for, like some of them attended like those TV programs like Master Chefs or Bake
Wow,
Off. Yeah, and some of them worked with like celebrity chefs like Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver in the past. But some people might just be like grandmas or like aunties who cooked for their family for their whole life, and then they want to share their like family recipes with the wider community. So I met so many like interesting people from like different backgrounds, and I got to invited to their kitchen and to try all of the food.
wow,
Yeah, to listen to their stories, and I think this is something like linked very closely to what I am passionate about. And I think that something keeps me going as well. So like meeting those people, listening to their story, and like thinking that the platform or the product that you developed can really help them making a meaningful income makes me feel like really happy. For example, one of our chefs last year made over like 30K um like on our platform, and then she find like
wow,
she used to be like a stay-home mom and taking care of her kids and couldn't like really like go out to work because simply because of the flexibility of like a lot of works, they require you to travel to the office, and being a stay like full time like stay home mom, it's hard for her to do so. So she like with working out on our platforms, I give them enough like notice to when they have like catering jobs, and then they can cook in their kitchen and then deliver to the event, so they can plan their timetables and like balancing like being a mom and also like working on the catering business. So after working with us for a year, and then she earned over 30,000, like 30K on our platform. And then she finally last year brought her family for like a holiday for 7 days to Greece. And those kind of
oh,
like
love that.
story really, yeah, this kind of story really like makes me really happy, and seeing the real sort of like, the impact that I generated through the platform. Because when I started, I had this great mission and great idea of like creating the impact to the local community. But at that time, like I don't, it's more like just an idea, and seeing those ideas like into a real like stories, and seeing the the impact like generated to real people's life, and it makes me really really happy. So I
Wow,
think
that's so inspiring.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's something push me forward to work towards it.
Wow, love it. And so let me ask you this difficult question now. What's your
Yeah.
what's your favorite cuisine? What's your favorite food
Wow.
then?
I think it's always like change over the
Yeah.
time. So recently, I'm really obsessed with Moroccan food. Like yeah, because I moved to this like new place in London, and they have like a very nice Moroccan home style like cafe around my house. So
Yeah.
sometimes I would go there to eat like a Moroccan style couscous, and also like a drink of mint tea. That's like my comfort thing to do. And before that, my favorite cuisine used to be Argentinian food because my best friend, I don't know if you know her, Nani, she's like also met from Trebs, and she's Argentinian. So when I visited her in Buenos Aires and I first discovered Argentinian food, I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Like the quality of, all those kind of like grill and the flavorful of like different sauces, and also like empanadas. It's like just
Wow.
so amazing. Yeah. Sorry to make
Yeah.
everyone hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry now. After this recording, I need to go for
Yeah.
dinner.
What about you? What's your favorite cuisine?
Oh, I think I like everything. I'm a foodie, so for me, it's everything. Whatever I can
Yeah.
get my hands on, I would eat. Anything vegetarian. So I'm
Yeah.
vegetarian as well.
Completely.
So for me, anything, I would
Yeah, I
say.
recently tried the Ethiopian vegetarian or like vegan food. It's like super flavorful as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of like lentil curries and
and there's so many options as well, vegetarian options these days. So we never lack
exactly,
of options.
exactly.
Nice. And let's say if I have a corporate business, if I want to run an event, how does that work? How can I contact you, or how does the process work?
Yes, of course. So if you're running like corporate events from like bigger team, like smaller team meeting or to like company wide full service events or even like teamwork or
Yeah.
team building events like a cookery class, and you can go to our platform, which is www.heyfoodisready.com. And then from there, you can just like fill a form on the platform, and you can also see like which kind of chefs are available in your local area. And once you have the budget and the location, the time of the events, and we will then send over like a menu for you to review. And if you're happy with the menu, and then we'll go ahead and book the chefs in for you. Yeah, just
And how
sit back
long
and
in advance they need to send the request?
like obviously when you get the events, as soon as you have the events, you should like send the
Mm,
request. But sometimes we do like take orders like 48 hours in advance and just give like a chef
wow,
a little notice. Yeah, because
nice. I like
we
that.
work with all of the chefs quite closely, so we build a good relationship, and most of them are able to take like even last minute orders, which I really appreciate.
Well, I think that again comes down to your building a community and building the
Completely,
relationship with them, with the chefs. I think that helps as well. 100.
completely.
So let's talk about some challenges that you have faced in the business. If you could share some challenges you have faced.
Yes, of course. So at the moment, so in the past 2 years when I started, all of the sales has come like quite naturally, like through the network that I built and through people, like a lot of my friends work in different organizations and they place orders from me as well. And then when I get the order, I try to like try my best to over deliver on their expectations. So that's how we keep our retention rate really high. So far we have around like 86% of repeat order rates, and also like
Wow.
over 68% of like referral rate. So a lot of people who use our service or try the food at the events, and
Mm,
they will refer our services to other people as well. So that's how we grow the business in the past 2 years, and it's really like through personal network, word of mouth. But I think moving forward in 2025, one of our goal is to building the repeatable sales pipeline and to actively reaching out to more organizations like in
mhm.
different like industries in London, in Newcastle, and all that cities that we're working at. So I think one of the main challenges to like experimenting on like which sales strategy works, which not, and it involves in a lot of like experiments and building up the sales pipeline, because in a lot of like bigger organizations they already have like established like sales strategies, and for us it's really to try out different strategies and see which one works, and then do a lot of like A/B testing, and then like make mistakes really fast, and then like learn from the mistakes and move on really fast as well. So far we have around two strategies that we're using at the moment, and which seems working, but also we need a bit more time to testing it. So I would say that's one of the challenge. And secondly, it's because startup. So we have a small team and a lot of like orders and all that. So I think operational, like we need to be a better like operational like process to make sure we constantly deliver the good quality work to all of our
Nice.
clients.
I love what you said as well on making mistakes quickly, learning from them, and improving the. Where do you get that idea from?
Completely, because I think a lot of time like people just think that you can't make mistakes, but I think mistakes is the best way of like learning new things. We when we started, we made some like smaller mistakes. For example, like maybe we didn't communicate with the chef really well, and then maybe the order get delayed, and then from there we learned, oh, we have to have like a very streamlined communication process with chefs. And sometimes, like for example, the chef's first language is not English, and then for them to take, like they might make some mistakes with their orders and all that. So then we streamline their menu, and trying to also, like initially when I onboard them, I might also like work with the translator and make sure like everything works smoothly. So it's all of those kind of little stories along the journey makes me realize like you can make mistakes, but after mistakes you need to learn like how to mitigate that, and then building like a better business from there.
Nice. And like, how can you be more self-aware as well of seeing the mistakes as well? Because sometimes we make mistakes, but we tend to not learn from them. So what's your advice on how can we learn from our mistakes and be more self-aware as well?
Completely. I think for us, like it's more obvious because we're like a very like in the hospitality industry, and you're like clients facing kind of thing. So
Yeah.
even like a little mistakes can cause like a very big problems. For example, things that you can't mess up with like allergens and all that. So these are like a hard, no. But for like for example, the order get delayed a little bit, that's not like a super like serious mistake, I would say. So those kind of thing we would then, like when clients telling us that, first thing to do is like apologize, but then second thing is you need to find out a better like strategies on how to not get the order delayed next time. So for example, maybe when I tell like chefs the delivery time, I always like tell them 10 minutes earlier, so then they will
Oh,
have like a small
nice.
windows, even though if it's traffic or whatever reasons, they always try to arrive on time, which is like arrive 10 minutes earlier than the client's expected time. So then it gives them like, even though if they're 10 minutes late, they're still like on time.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
And where do you learn about business and entrepreneurship? Because you keep learning from your business. What other things are you doing to keep improving your knowledge of entrepreneurship or business?
Yeah, so I think when I started, I tried to get involved in different like communities and different networks as well. So for example, we won a few awards from like Innovate UK or Unlimited, and those are like organizations backing entrepreneurs. So they build a community of like minded entrepreneurs from like different organizations, and then we have like shared office space. So like I try to go there every single day and to meet other people, and they're also running their business, so they face like different challenges. And through this community like conversations, I always get to learn things. And with all of this like entrepreneurial like network I'm involving at, they always like regularly learn like launch workshops or master classes and all that, and also like mentorship like schemes. So these are kind of like the programs which help you to like learning different things. So through this journey, I learned how to sell your product and how to pitch to investors, and how to communicate with your customers. So these are all of the workshops that I attended in the past.
Nice. And do you read business books as well?
Sometimes, yeah, I do. It's
Any? Go on, sorry.
Yeah, sometimes I do. I just like sometimes when I read it, it's maybe stress me out. Like I try to like now my like before like when I was studying at Durham, like I read lots of like business books, and I think something keeps me like interest. But now because I'm constantly thinking about business, so like when I try to like shut my brain down, I try not to read them.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
And in any business book that you read initially when you were starting, Hey, Food is Ready, that really helped you grow the business?
Yes, I really like this book from like the founder of Patagonia. Is it called Let the People Serve? Let me double check.
Yes, that's correct. That's the one
Yeah, I
about
think yeah
mountain.
that
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So that was one of my favorite books, and I think it really like showcase like his success story, and I think he's doing amazing work for the community, like not only for the business but also for the community as well. And that that's one of my favorite book. And I also like another book called Pitch Anything.
Preach anything. Oh,
Peach anything. Yeah.
oh, peach anything. Okay, what is it about?
Yeah. So it's about like an innovative like the whole book is showcasing like innovative like method of like how you pitching and like like winning the deals. So it's all about like, you know, launching the business or like running the business is all about like selling things. You need to sell your idea to investors and you need to like sell your product to customers. So it's all about like how to present yourself and pitch your service or your product to people. And yeah, I would highly recommend anyone to read that book.
Nice. I'll definitely link it in the show notes as well. Nice.
Yeah,
But in terms of Patagonia, I think the founder is quite. He also gives off his profits to save the environment. So are you big into
exactly.
these causes as well?
Yes, yes, 100%. So at the moment, we're working with an organization like in London called the Turn, so the Refugee Entrepreneurial Network. So we work with them for their food power program, and when they incubate refugee entrepreneurs to launch their food business, and then we onboard them after them completing the program, so that they
Yeah.
have like additional like channel to sell their food. So it's almost like this kind of like partnership. So we're actively building partnerships with organizations like that, supporting refugees to turn their like hobby into a real business, and so that's one of the main thing. And then secondly, we work with like food banks and charities in London. So sometimes at the event we have like some leftover food, and we will take them and donate it to the charities.
Wow.
So yeah, we try to like do something which is not only benefiting the chefs, benefiting the event organizers, so that people can try some good food, but also benefiting the wider community.
Wow, that's such an amazing thing to do, Euro. You're
Thank
a,
you.
like I said in my introduction, you're a, like an
Yeah.
inspirational entrepreneur, not just
Oh,
focused on the business, but also helping the wider community. So that's
oh, thank
amazing.
you.
Nice one.
Thank you so
And you
much.
also, yeah, no worries. You also mentioned another book about teach me everything. What is it?
Peach
Pitch me,
anything. Yeah.
pitch anything. So what have you learned from there? Because I've seen some of your YouTube videos where you're pitching and presenting. So how has communication and presenting has been influential in your business?
Yeah, I think pitching is like super important because you need to like communicating your ideas and make more people sort of understand what you're trying to do and the problem. Because I think as entrepreneur itself, I think I'm the only one who is like really, really passionate towards what I'm doing. And you need to like onboard people who almost like have the same kind of passion as you to, you know, support your
Mm,
business, not from like financially or like from other perspectives as well. So I think pitching is really about like convey this kind of like interest, your passion to other people, and also really like to see what like when you pitch. I think you need to first of all identify what's the problems, what's the solution, and why like why it matter to them. I think
mm,
finding those kind of like shared like common interests would be quite important, because a lot of time like when you pitch to people but you don't really know like why they should interested in what you're talking about, then people immediately just shut down and be not interested in. But if you can find those like connections, then you'll be able to build those connections with the audience and let people listening to what you're trying to say.
nice. Were you always a great public speaker, or this is something you worked on and improved?
I think most of the time, I'm not scared of like speaking publicly, but I don't say I'm a great public speaker. But like whenever, for example, when I was in uni or when I need to pitch my ideas to other people, like I always try to see all of the audience as like potatoes, and they just don't have like. So then you know, like you're almost like giving a talk to a bunch of like potatoes. So then you
Potatoes.
don't feel like stressed, or you don't feel like you've been judged, and then that would be the best time to really like showcasing yourself and your personality. And yeah, so because a lot of time like when you think, oh my god, like the investors are listening to my pitch and they have decision making power and they have the money and they have the experience and they're scary. So when you think that they're scary and you don't really have the opportunity to showcasing your true personality, and I think a lot of time when investors invest in like early stage business, it's all about the founder and you know like do you trust them to make your money safe? Do you think even this idea is not working? Do you think the founder have the ability to, like make some other idea work? So it's all about like, because in the early stage, like your product is just too early, and most of them don't really like already achieve the product market fit. So it's all about the people. And when you're like super stressed and you can't like express your like passions, express your ideas, and then no one gonna like invest in you. So I think that's come come handy when you see them as potatoes, so that they don't judge,
I
and you just
love
like
that.
yeah trying to like communicate your ideas, and trying to like onboard them to your team.
Wow, I'm gonna take away that as well.
Yeah.
If anyone at work asks me, okay, I feel fear, just say, oh, they look like potatoes. I like
Yeah.
that. Nice. And I think that's a wrap. I really enjoyed talking to you, Euro, and so many amazing key takeaways. And I'll link all of your social media handles as well in the show notes. So if anyone of the listeners having a corporate event, you know who to reach out to.
Yay. Thank
And
you.
no worries at all. And make sure you like the show as well, follow us, because that will help me get more interesting guests like Euro or inspirational guests like Euro on the show. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you comment below. What's your biggest takeaway from this episode? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Euro. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and yeah, let's stay in contact.
Yes, 100%. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye.